The London Naval Treaty of 1930 forbade the construction of any new battleships. Before 1937, which the Japanese viewed as another step by Western powers to retain superiority, people in Japan, especially younger, more radical army officers, considered the different peace agreements as a betrayal of Japan's interests by moderate politicians. They looked to their military to correct the situation. The military commanded enormous respect from the population in Japan in the 1920s and 1930s. When a young man reached the age of 17, he entered his 2 years of service with a party hosted by the residents of his hometown, school children, collected coins in a drive to finance the construction of a battleship, and it was deemed an honor to serve the emperor. Rigorous training instilled discipline and an aversion to surrendering. Instructors taught trainees that loyalty to one's unit, faith in commanding officers, and spirit would defeat any foe, no matter how well armed it might be. Attacking, even in circumstances that produced ghastly casualties, was preferred to surrendering or pulling back. Men trained 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, under the watch of dictatorial officers who answered complaints with punishment. Soldiers would embark on marches of 25 miles, wearing gear that weighed 2/3 of their own body weight, then run the final mile to prove they still had reserves of strength. A soldier's life belonged to the emperor, and to suffer defeat or surrender was considered an insult to the emperor and brought shame to the soldier's family. His behavior was governed by the ancient samurai tradition known as Bushido, which meant way of the Yao, warrior. The samurai were honored fighters in Japan's history, and soldiers of the Imperial Army were expected to emulate them. Duty is weightier than a mountain, while death is lighter than a feather, reminded one dictate. A soldier could attain no higher glory than to die in battle. Japanese militants who urged immediate expansion onto the Asian mainland were held in check by more moderate forces and by the fact that the Japanese economy depended heavily on the United States for products. The stock market crash of 1929, which ushered in the Great Depression, altered the situation. Military extremists castigated moderates for giving away too much military might in the 1920s peace accords and for refusing to exploit China. They clamored for a new policy that would emphasize conquest and expansion. The Japanese military held such immense power because it controlled the fates of those factions in power. The Army and Navy each had one minister in the Japanese cabinet, and if they did not agree with current policy, they could hamstring a government by recalling the ministers and bringing the regime to a standstill. From early 1936 on, militarists gained more influence. Politicians justifiably feared for their lives if they supported a position unpopular with the Army or Navy.